Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Crawford. I am a volunteer with the Pennsylvania Tourette Syndrome Alliance, and I'm happy to introduce the Outreach and Volunteer Administrator for the Pennsylvania Tourette Syndrome Alliance, Sarah Wolf, and she is going to be starting off with our conversation here, a series of videos that will go throughout the year. And Sarah is going to specialize in outreach and advocacy and things like that. And we're launching this video just ahead of Tourette Syndrome Awareness Month. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into what the Pennsylvania Tourette Syndrome Alliance is, what they do, how you can get involved, and how you can personally, even in a pandemic, help spread awareness for Tourette syndrome. Sarah, welcome.
Hi, Brian. Thank you so much. I'm excited about this new series that we're going to put out, and I'm happy to talk about some Tourette syndrome awareness and some of the services that PATSA provides.
I'm really excited about your segment in general because I feel like there's so much information that will really allow people to get involved in the world and in helping to spread advocacy. And this is information that you guys specialize in, and I think a lot of people probably don't know what they can do. So I think your segments are going to be really informative and helpful to people.
I hope so. I'm excited. We've been wanting to do something like this for a while, so it's super fun to watch it come into action here.
Tell us a little bit about the Pennsylvania Tourette Syndrome Alliance. What do you guys do? Who are you? How long have you been around? All of that stuff.
The Pennsylvania Tourette Syndrome Alliance has been around for just over 35 years now, probably getting close to 40 now. It was founded by a mom and nurse who had a child with Tourette syndrome and found that there were not enough services or education provided out there. So we are specifically Pennsylvania, and we're statewide, and we provide services to those with TS as well as their families, as well as schools and other organizations that work with people that have Tourette syndrome. So some of the services that we provide, first and foremost is info and referral. So we have a phone line that people can call in and anytime they need any sort of information, and they can be connected to one of our consultants. And we basically provide all the information that we can, just really help people understand the diagnosis of Tourette syndrome and everything that entails. And then from there, hopefully our objective then is to empower them and give them all the information so that they can then begin to explain it to those around them, family members, people in their community, and of course their schools if children are involved. So it's very important to us that we start with that cornerstone so that people can, go out there and really advocate for themselves. So that's the first service, and it's a big part of what we do. Reaching out from there, we also do trainings for educators, as well as peer trainings. So for example, an educator training might look like we go into a school and there are teachers there, anywhere from one-on-one to, a class or an auditorium full of 200 plus teachers from the district. And we teach on Tourette syndrome and associated disorders. We really spend a while educating and answering a lot of questions, and we walk away from those trainings. A lot of people have really great things to say. They really learn a lot from that. So that's very beneficial. And we also, of course, we're going to talk about pandemic times. We also do them virtually. We can do the trainings virtually. We can do meetings virtually, which we'll get into. But all of it is, we were already prepared for that before the pandemic. And so, of course, that's only picked up more speed since then. So we're happy to be able to provide that as well. And then the peer trainings are actually, near and dear to all of our hearts. We love them. We'll go into a classroom with a child who has Tourette syndrome, and we'll train their class and their peers. Not only in schools, we also do, any community organizations or sports teams or anything that they're involved in. And this happens sometimes just generally they want to inform their peers. Sometimes it happens because a teacher might request it, especially if a TIC is might be disruptive to the classroom or something. But this really is super empowering to the kids, and it changes lives, because we're able to go in there and explain how Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder, how the child has no control over it, how they're not ticking or doing something on purpose to disturb their peers. It really goes a long way in helping the peers to understand what's going on. It's kind of like the elephant in the room, and when you're able to explain it and get the other kids rallied around that to understand it, then it just really changes the dynamic for that student. So sometimes the kid will be involved with us. They'll come up at the end and answer questions that their peers might have. Sometimes the child chooses not to be directly involved or talk to them directly, and it's just more of a general education about Tourette syndrome. Either way, it's a fantastic resource.
We're coming into Tourette Syndrome Awareness Month. You do all of this advocacy and awareness. Do you do anything special or different during this coming month than you would throughout the year?
I don't know that it's different per se, but we do try to hit it extra hard. We are out there on social media. We are sharing things that are specifically geared towards other people being able to share them, things that are very educational, as well as the social media frames. I support someone with Tourette syndrome, that sort of stuff. We give that opportunity out there for people to go out and specifically start educating people on it, because they're bringing awareness to it through social media.
This is one part of this video series. There's going to be multiple hosts, multiple different types of topics that will be rotating in and out. Let's talk about that. What else can people expect? We're going to be putting these out every other week. What else can people expect from this video series?
So what we'll be having is a series of 4 hosts, and that will be myself, as well as Elena Wisely. She is a nurse at CHOP, and she will be doing the medical side of Tourette syndrome, as well as support in the medical community across Pennsylvania for Tourette syndrome. And then we have Kate Milley, who is our youth board representative, and she's a teen and very involved with Tourette syndrome awareness, and she will be hosting some interviews with other teens, young adults perhaps, that have Tourette syndrome, and just getting their stories out there and helping other people to understand the different sides and different perspectives of those with Tourette syndrome, because it's very different for each person. And then, of course, you, Brian Crawford, will be doing some series on adults with Tourette syndrome, telling their stories, getting it out there a little bit more in-depth stories for them. So that will be fun. And then Mark Schmidt, who he is a professor at Penn, and he will be doing the brain or science behind Tourette syndrome. He's got some great things going on in his research world, and he's going to share those with us.
I'm excited to see a lot of the variety in these videos. I think it's going to be interesting to kind of get different perspectives and different elements focusing on the disorder, because I feel like most conversations you hear, it seems to be very specific. I don't feel like there's a lot of broad content out there that goes into so many different specific parts that deal with the disorder. So I think this is going to be a really cool series.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to mention a few of the other things that we provide just to get the information out here on this video. One great thing is our upcoming camp and our retreat in the fall. That's a family event for people. Typically it's in person. This camp will be virtual, and then next year our retreat will be back in person, which will be in October. And this is just an event for people to attend that the whole family can attend. So we have activities for the kids, fun, engaging activities for them to get to know one another. This is an opportunity for kids to just let their guard down and just truly enjoy themselves and meet other people that have Tourette syndrome. For siblings to meet other siblings and get to know different family dynamics. A lot of times they feel like they're alone out there. It's just them struggling or just them dealing with the family dynamics of this. And then, of course, families, parents, and adults come, and we have education sessions for them and support network building type of activities happening for them. So that's another great service that we provide. We also provide advocacy, which is, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but we go to meetings with families at schools. We talk to teachers one-on-one. We go to IEP or 504, just basic meetings, and help them come up with accommodations and just general understanding so that their education can be top-notch, the best for them. And then we also have support groups. We do online support groups. We do social media support groups, like we have a private group on Facebook. And then we also have in-person support groups. They've been a little bit wonky this year. A lot of them have been meeting virtually. But we do encourage anybody who's looking for support, looking to meet other people that they can lean on and ask questions to go to our website again and look up our support groups. And hopefully we can offer some support through that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that stuff is super important too for a lot of people. I'm thinking like I know somebody who I, talk with through like an online group, and he was actually thrown off a bus once because of his tics, and a lot of people have to deal with that kind of stuff. And I imagine if you have tics that are that severe that it make it harder to function in society, in school, at work, a lot of those opportunities are great for people who are dealing with that, because then they can just be themselves and not have to worry about that unfair backlash that comes from a disorder that they can't control.
Yeah, feedback often that we get from camp and retreat from both parents and kids is it's the first time in a really long time that they've been able to just relax. They don't have to explain themselves. They don't have to be on guard for someone's reaction. A parent doesn't feel like they have to, watch everything their kid's doing in order to defend it or explain it or help them in some way, because it's such a relaxed environment. And, everybody there knows what Tourette syndrome is, and everybody there is there for the family and the kids to make sure that they really can have a nice time. So, that is one of the biggest and best feedbacks that we get from that event, is exactly what you were describing, so.
Be sure to subscribe to the PATSA YouTube channel and like them on Facebook so you can get all of the information and videos as they roll out. As I said, that's Sarah Wolf. I'm Brian Crawford. Go to PATSAinc.org. That's PATSAinc.org for information on the videos when they come out. Get that schedule down. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Don't miss out. We've got some really great content coming in the coming weeks and months ahead.